Hi everyone. Ooh, this is recording 111, which is really fun because that is connected to the cave of hidden treasures. The cave of hidden treasures. I still have a little bit of a cough, y'all. I keep talking about this cough. You guys know about the cough if you've been listening to these things. Okay, anyways. But it is getting a little bit better. I took some oregano oil and I've been giving the kids oregano oil of oregano. I'm sorry, not oregano oil of oregano. I heard that those are different things. So anyways, today we're going to be talking about, the truth serum story time. Okay. Now, this is something that is still like in the works. Okay. So I don't exactly know how it is playing out right now, right? Because certain intentions and things like that you set in the universe, it takes a while for the universe to start weaving it together. It's very rarely just like a straight line to something, okay? And so this is an interesting story time. I'm going to start because I want to talk about how I got to the absinthe and then what ended up happening when I ended up doing the absinthe, I guess you say ritual or spell work or intention, whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. So this one is interesting because I do believe that this is also connected to some type of alien situation or some type of being or something that is not in this dimensional reality, right? Because alien is kind of a catch-all term, right? There's a lot of things that are in the unseen realm that can take you for a period in time. There's a lot of things. Now, I have not figured out right now what that is. And I'm kind of excited to figure it out because I want to do like another QHHT session or hypnosis session in order to like recover this memory because I know that it is crazy.com. And I think I'll probably pause it after I talk about everything. I'll probably pause it and then go back inside because we got 2 kids that are not feeling well right now. So I'm in the car. And then I'll tell you guys the dates because I did the first one. I did it on a new moon, I believe. And then the last one that I did, I think I did that one on a new moon too. I'm not exactly sure. But I'll give the dates and everything like that towards the end. Okay. And then, of course, I'm going back and doing the timestamps and everything and connecting the links and stuff like that. So it makes it very easy for there to be a flow. Okay. So this story time starts back, oh my gosh, when was this? Okay, let me think about this. This is definitely, I believe, in 2020, and I think that this was the beginning of 2020. And I might talk about this story twice, because I know that there's another one where I talked about this story too. And I don't know if I talked about absinthe in that time, but some of them you might hear something twice because it's connected to multiple different things. Okay, so anyways, back in 2020, there was a woman that I was friends with at that time, and we had set an intention together to astral project, okay? And so these are the things that I do with my friends when we're friends, because I feel like I have Mars in the 11th house, and like my friendships start off like really passionate and, like really fiery, and we really, really connect, but it also has most of them fizzle out though. Like it's usually like a 5-year time frame. Ray is the only person that I have connected with outside of like certain family that I've even talked to past 7 years. Most people, it's like 5 years. For whatever reason, it's like a 5-year situation. And then I have a few friends, that was like 7 years. But anyways, I've just noticed that in life. And so I'm like, okay, I guess Mars in the 11th house just does not really favor long-term friendships, really. So it's been interesting. Anyways, my point in saying that is that me and this friend at the time, and she also is an Aries. So anyways, it was fun while it was fun. So anyways, we were planning to do astral projection. Okay. And so, I was like, I don't know if we should like focus on trying to do it in the dream world or whatever, but that's what we decided on. We're like, okay, we're going to do it in the dream world. Okay. So anyways, during that time period, she ended up having this dream of this guy coming to her house, in the dream, okay? So this is her dream. So in the dream, there's a guy that she had not seen in a very long time. And I think that he was a youth pastor or something, or he was someone that she knew from youth church or something like that. I can't exactly remember. But anyways, and they were from Tennessee, which I thought was interesting because I definitely have connections to Nashville, connections to Vanderbilt, and somewhere else in Tennessee that I can't think of right now. Yeah, like personal family connections out there. And then, of course, Mahari, that is in Tennessee, right? Mahari is in Tennessee, right? I'm pretty sure it's in Tennessee. Anyways, so she had this guy come to her house in the dream, and it was funny because before he got to the house, me and her were in the dream state, and she was saying that we were talking about astral projection. And so we had made a pact with each other, like, okay, I'm going to astral project first and you watch my body. And then when I come back, you'll get to astral project and I'll watch your body. So I'm going to give her a name so that we don't get like confused about what I'm saying here. Okay, so I'm DeeDee. And then we'll call her Kelsey. Okay, we'll call her Kelsey. So so in the dream, me and Kelsey decided that I was going to astral project first and Kelsey was going to watch my body. And then when I came back from astral projecting, it would be Kelsey's turn. And then Kelsey would astral project and then I would watch Kelsey's body. So that's what happened. So I ended up leaving my body in the dream. Okay, this is her dream. This is Kelsey's dream. So I ended up leaving my body in the dream. And then she said that as soon as I left my body, right, because at this point she's watching my body while I'm astral projecting. Make sure, I guess we had some type of intuition or something that somebody might try something. So anyways, this guy comes, and since she has not seen him in a long time, you know, she opens the door and she thought it was strange that he showed up, but she said they got to talking and everything like that. And then next thing you know, he was like trying to be sexually aggressive with my body. So she said that she literally had to like fight him off and throw me in the car. And she was like, I was still gone from my body, right? And so, wait, this is really wild. I'm going to tell you why it's wild in a second, okay? Because we're about to get into the absinthe, but I'm setting this up because I want you to understand that dreams are very significant and they are weaving, right? So it is not just like a linear thing, you know, usually. So by the time you have a dream like consecutively every night, you pretty much know that there's some type of like earthbound spirit that's talking to you. But when you're weaving together manifestations and destiny and you're retrieving soul pieces and all of this stuff, it weaves together over time. And so that's why a lot of these videos you're going to hear me say, I highly recommend you to do a dream journal so that you can go back and reference these things. So anyways, I'm going to tell you why it's wild in a second. Okay. So she said she gets me in the car, she lays me in the back seat, and she said literally people just started falling out of the sky trying to attack the car. And so she was like driving and she was like speeding through red lights and all type of crazy stuff. And she's trying to wake me up. She's like, girl, get back to your body, girl. Get back to your body. And then so I finally get back to my body, and that's when she wakes up. I believe that that's how it ends. I don't exactly remember, but I think it was something like that, right? So she told me that, and I was like, that's very interesting because it's very interesting because I set intentions. Even now, like the lucid dreaming experiences have been absolutely wild, and I'm not ready to talk about them just yet. But I'm like, it's abnormal that I have set so many intentions to astral project and stuff like that, and I've only been able to do it like twice. And I've been working at this for like since 2012, so literally 11 years now. And there are certain things in life where you know that like it could be body things, it could be, shadow work stuff. But when something is like really abnormally taking a long time, that's when you can pretty much say that there is someone that or something that is trying to prevent you from doing that. And then if you're doing it over an extended period of time and you don't have access for it an extended period of time, you can pretty much guarantee that there is some type of deity or entity or something like that. So it's not just, like somebody's black magic or something, but you're probably going up against a deity energy. Which I had an experience with that recently, which I'll probably talk about later. So that's why it was crazy to me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really needed that piece of information. It was like a piece of information that I did not know that I needed, because it had never crossed my mind that one of the reasons that I might not be able to get out of body is because there might be a lot of energies that are trying to either take over my body or that are like something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, yeah, you need to be in your body, or there's a reason that, you're not allowed to leave your body or something. It's wild. So anyways, I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was very interesting. And so then probably, now this sequence of events, I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so this was also at the beginning of 2020, because 2020 was lit on the dreams. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, my dreams are always pretty crazy, but of course 2020 was like on a whole nother level. Okay. So anyways, so then a different person. So then one of my cousins ended up having a dream, and this is where we're about to get into the absinthe. Okay. My cousin ended up having a dream. Wait, do I want to go back? Okay, wait, let me think about how I want to really set this up. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the dream, and then I'm going to talk about the ones before that, just kind of in passing. Okay, so my cousin ends up having this dream, and she calls me. She's like, I just had the weirdest dream ever. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, tell me about it, And so she was like, I was cooking dinner at my house. So she was, again, at her house. And she said that she knew that she was like cooking dinner for her and her fiance. So I'm like, okay, cool. She said that as she was cooking dinner, she got a knock on her door. And I'm like, this is sounding really familiar. And she said that she went to the door and there was a man with a top hat at the door. And as she was talking about it, I was, sometimes when people are talking, I can, see, what they're thinking. I get like an impression of what it is that they were looking at and experiencing. And it doesn't always directly add up, but I get the energies behind it though. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, he's about to shapeshift, because whatever he looked like at first, I'm sure when he walks in the door, he's going to look like something else. I'm like, this is the tricky spirit. Okay, so he started off looking like a tall white man with a top hat and a trench coat. And then she said, I promise you, she said, then he came in and sat down, and it was kind of like if you watch like Vampire Diaries and stuff like that, when like vampires are trying to like compel someone. She said that he was trying to do that to her, like to compel her to let him in. And it kind of worked, like to a certain extent, where she did let him in, but she was not completely, let's say, hypnotized. So she did let him in. He came and sat on the couch. And when he sat on the couch, I kid you not, he shapeshifted into a cat. And she said that this was not a normal size cat. This was a huge cat with a top hat and a cigarette in his mouth. And as soon as she said that, and I had not heard of this before, but as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, he's a cat she. A cat she. So I'm saying C-A-T, right, cat, and then she, S-I-D-H-E, okay? So the she are fairies, and I believe that that's what they call, like, the fairy mounds are the she is, like, the mound or the hill, I believe. So they are the fairies that come from the mounds. And it's also connected to Sedona. Hold on, because let me make sure I'm telling y'all the right stuff, okay? I'm going to link stuff anyway, but... Oh, Aoshi. Oh, my gosh. I didn't even remember that, because I've definitely got an Eos piece. Okay, Aoshi is the Irish name for a supernatural race in Celtic mythology, the Daoine Shi. So it's also like Sith, like Darth Vader and the Siths is the she, the fairies. The dark elves or dark fairies. Comparable to fairies or elves, right? They are said to descend from the Tuatha De Danann, or the people of Danu, or Anu, or Dana. Could be Diana. Okay. And then Celtic fae, the she, are not small European fairies, but tall and handsome, much like high elves. They inhabit the 6 Celtic nations of Brittany, Cornwall, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and the island of Man. So the she are the hills or tumuli that dot the Irish landscapes. Okay, yeah. So I wanted to make sure that I was saying that correctly, because I thought that I remembered that, but I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, so in modern Irish, the people of the mounds are called the Daoine Si. So it also looks like si, like yes in Spanish. They are called Daoine Shi. And it means people of the fairy mound. They are variously said to be ancestors, the spirits of nature, or gods and goddesses. And in the Irish language, Aoshi means people of the fairy mounds, as she means the otherworldly mounds or hills. In modern Irish, the word is she. In Scottish Gaelic, it's, I'm going to say Sith. In Old Irish, it's she, which looks like side, S-I-D-E. And then the singular is S-I-D, like Sid, like Sydney. By the time of the Celtic Revival, when the fairy faith became a topic for English and English language authors, she in its various forms with various meanings became a loan word into English and took on a variety of often inaccurate meanings. Okay. Used for mountain people of the mountains. Okay. Yeah, and it says that this person conjectured that the word she was synonymous with immortal. And so you also have, right, because we're talking about Celtics, and then we're talking about Indo-Aryans, which means that, they also are connected into the Vedas and the Hindu traditions. And what is this called? Sedona, right? Hold on. It is Siddha. So perfected one is a term that's used widely in Indian religions and culture. It means one who is accomplished. It refers to perfected masters who have achieved a high degree of perfection of the intellect as well as liberation or enlightenment. In Jainism, which Jainism comes from jhana, which is also connected to dana. So Janice and Diana are directly connected to each other. The term is used to refer to the liberated souls. Siddha may also, and I'm saying Siddha, may also refer to one who has attained a siddhi, Siddhi, which is a paranormal capability. So it may also refer broadly to siddhas, nas, ascetas, sudhus, or yogis because they all practice sadhana. Yeah. So Sadhana is an ego transcending spiritual practice. It includes a variety of disciplines in Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain traditions that are followed in order to achieve various spiritual or ritual objectives. Sadhana is done for attaining detachment from worldly things, which can be a goal of a sadhu. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and jnana yoga can also be described as sadhana. Constant efforts to achieve maximum level of perfection in all streams of day-to-day life can be described as sadhana. Sadhana can also refer to tantric liturgy or liturgical manual, that is the instructions to carry out a certain practice. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to read you a little bit about the cat she. Now, this stuff is crazy because I understand why they were so afraid of black cats and cats in general, because they were doing the most trying to summon the cat she, okay? So anyways, the cat she is a fairy creature from Celtic mythology said to resemble a large black cat with a white spot on its chest. And usually that white spot shows up as a diamond on the chest, okay? And it's said to resemble a large black cat with a white spot on its chest. Legend has it that the spectral cat hunts the Scottish Highlands. The legends surrounding this creature are more common in Scottish folklore, but a few occur in Irish. Some common folklore suggested that the cat she was not a fairy, but a witch that could transform into a cat 9 times. So a similar entity is a phantom cat. The cat she may have been inspired by the Scottish wildcat itself. It is possible that the legends of the cat she were inspired by Kellis cat, which are distinctive hybrid between Scottish wildcats and domestic cats, found only in Scotland. Okay, yeah, and this is what I was feeling like, that he was the king of the cats, okay? So in the British folktale, The King of the Cats, a man comes home to tell his wife and cat, Old Tom, that, I was just watching this TV show that I absolutely love. It's like one of the best ones. You can find it on YouTube, and I really like it because like it's relatively mild. Like there's some risque things in there. Okay, there's some risque things. But it's relatively mild. And it talks about really deep spiritual concepts in a very down to earth. Oh, I forgot to write down slow moving. In a very slow paced real world way. And it's called Being Erica on YouTube. And you can find all the seasons. I think there's 4 seasons of it. You can find all of them on YouTube. And so the guy that is helping her spiritually, his name is Tom. Like the Tomcat. So I'll link the first episode of that too. Okay, so that, Old Tom, that he saw 9 black cats with white spots on their chest carrying a coffin with a crown on it, and one of the cats tells the man to tell Tom Tildrum that Tim Toldrum is dead. Old Tom then explains, "What? Old Tim dead? Then I'm the king of the cats." The cat then climbs up the chimney, is never seen again. Yeah, so I'm not going to read all of this, but what I was reading about how they summon the catchy is that some of the farmers would actually torture and kill cats until it pretty much forced the catchy's hand to appear. Right? Now, if you doing that, then you already know what time it is when you die, okay? So you can't be talking about you afraid of cats and you afraid a cat's gonna steal your soul when you die and stuff like that. Because you didn't torture 20 cats just to force this cat fairy to show up. Like, it's pretty much like they were torturing the cats and killing them in order to force the catchy to show up to save the cats. So it's pretty much like, blackmailing it. Like, I'm going to keep on killing these cats until you come. And then when the catchy would appear, they would make a request. I'm like, who taught you this? Because there are much easier, non-violent, aggressive ways to get a request done. But anyways, she's got the king of the cats, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if she said he was called the king, if he said he was called the king of the cats. I'm gonna have to ask her. But there was something about the king of the cats. I think that I thought it in my mind, but she could have also said it too. I'm not sure. So anyways, he was pretty much like being facetious. Like, he wasn't like saying what he wanted. He was just like sitting on her couch smoking this really long cigar. What are these long cigars called? Let me see. Long cigars. It's kind of like the cigar in that the woman has in 1,000 Dalmatians, 101 Dalmatians. What? Cruella, yeah. Let me see, because it might be significant what those are. Let me just see. Cruella. Yeah, DeVille cigar. Oh, it's a cigar holder. Oh, it's a cigar holder. Okay. Anyways. Yeah. So anyways, he's like being facetious or whatever. He's not really saying what, he's there for. He's kind of like talking around, answering, her question, like, why are you here? So anyways, that's when he shapeshifts into this celebrity. And we're going to call this celebrity Chef. Okay? We're going to call him Chef. Okay? So he shapeshifts into Chef. Okay? And so she pretty much is like, what? And I guess like he appeared to her like to like surprise her, to get her like guard down. Like, okay, fine, it's me, and like, haha, it's me. But my cousin is not really a big fan of Chef like that. So it didn't really have, it didn't really hit the way it was supposed to hit. Do you know what I'm saying? And so she said that she all of a sudden got this inspiration to go to the kitchen and make him a truth serum. And she said, she was like, DeeDee, I had no clue how I was going to make him a truth serum. And so anyway, she said that she was like, hold on, I'm going to get us some food. And she went in the kitchen and she had this absinthe in her kitchen. And she said that someone told her like to mix that in with some, whatever. And that the absinthe was going to be the truth serum. Child. And so anyway, so she goes back in there and she gives him the absinthe, okay? And he lets her know that he's been trying to get into my dreams, but it has not really been working, okay? So Chef tells her, after he drinks the truth serum, after he drinks the absinthe, that the reason that he is showing up to her house is because he cannot get into my dreams anymore. He's having a problem getting into my dreams. And so he's hoping that by talking to her, he can like gather some information that's going to help him to get into my dreams. And I was like, what? I'm like tripping. I'm like, yo, what is going on? I'm like, what are you talking about? And she was like, that's literally what he said when I gave him the absinthe. And I was like, yo, that's bananas. Like, that's bananas, because the only time I have ever had absinthe in life. And when she said that, I was like, absinthe? I was like, oh my gosh, I've had absinthe before. And I was like, I didn't even know that it was a true serum. And so she gave me this whole history rundown on absinthe. And when she gave me the rundown, it made me think about the time that me and Ray had absinthe. And this was like at the beginning of our relationship. And it was a crazy night. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a crazy night. But then when she gave me the rundown of absinthe and how it affects people's brains and things like that, I was like, oh, okay. That's probably why we ain't never touched no absinthe again. That stuff is wild, okay? I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyways, so I'm like, truth serum, interesting. I didn't even know you could use it for a truth serum. So I was like, oh, maybe one day I'll try that. So this was back in 2020, okay? So then, and now we're getting into like the story time of the possible abduction, which I'm pretty sure it is. In some type of way, I don't, abduction is kind of like a kind of catch-all term too, because some people do get abducted, but some people I believe are connected to these entities, and they just feel like they have domain to just be like, come here. Come here. So I ended up having my third, or was that my fourth QHHT session that was done on me. A really, really lovely woman, which I have to do a session for her too. But anyways, a really lovely woman. And, during this session, okay, I'm going to talk about this kind of a little facetiously, I guess. What does facetiously mean? Because I always say it's facetious, but I don't know if that's actually portraying what I'm trying to say. I'm going to talk around this a little bit. Okay. But when I was still in college, I got wind that I could have possibly been hypnotized as a child. And so during this fourth session, that's what ended up coming up. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about it right now, because eventually I am going to like talk about what I ended up finding out. Now, okay, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it real tenderly. The only thing that I know about me being hypnotized is that I was. So I have no recollection of being hypnotized. No one around me that would tell me about it. Well, I've only asked one other person. Anyways, that's the only thing I know, is that at some point in time, whenever, that I was hypnotized. And so during this QHHT session, I reverted to a younger age, and I was telling her about this possible hypnosis session. Now, there's not really a way for me to actually check that right now. But QHHT and the mind are very, very interesting. So anyways, I ended up finding out, and this is like the one thing that I will say, that I do know that this hypnosis session, in whatever way it played out, because I don't know if it is specifically a hypnosis thing, because the person that I saw was actually a scientist. He was not specifically a like licensed hypnotherapist. And then after that session, which is crazy AF, I promise you, because I saw his face during the session. I know exactly what he looked like. And I had a dream previously that I did not see his face, but I saw his assistant's face. And she's got one of those faces that you would not forget. So when I saw her in this dream, and it was connected to lobotomies, that they were doing like weird kind of practices, this guy's face appeared in the QHHT session with this person. I was like, oh my gosh, I have dreamed about his secretary or whoever she was. I was like, I've dreamed about her before. And I had no clue who she was or what it was related to. And I'm going to have to talk about that dream later, because this will get really, really long and, really extensive, and I don't want it to be too long. But I have to talk about that later when I talk about the actual QHHT session, because at some point I will actually talk about it. Oh, look, a feather. Okay. So anyways, I ended up finding this guy, and I was telling her in the QHHT session, because I might actually go listen back to it today. It was wild. But I was telling her in the QHHT session, I was like, this guy is not a hypnotherapist. He's a scientist. And I was like, I don't trust him because he's lying about what he does. I was like, I come to him, and I've seen him before, so I didn't know how many times I had seen him, but I knew that it was more than just one time. And then I knew that, like I said, he wasn't a scientist. I mean, he wasn't like a hypnotherapist or, specifically that, but he was a scientist that was studying the mind. And those are not the same thing. So anyways, I ended up finding this guy. I'm going to go back and I'm going to, talk about the day that I found that information and all that kind of interesting stuff. But I ended up finding this guy. And even his name is connected to something in my childhood, which is very interesting. But I found him, and he was, in fact, it is so crazy. He actually was a scientist that studied mind-body connection. I've not read any of his books or anything like that yet, because I'm still just sitting on it. And I personally also believe that he has some type of connection with Al Bielek and the Philadelphia experiment. And the even crazier part, now this is the even crazier part. So if you study astrology, then you have heard of your Saturn return. Okay, Saturn return pretty much is when Saturn comes back to the exact same place that it was when you were born, okay, which takes Saturn about 29 years. Now, Saturn is also father time, it's also Chronos. And so people associate esoterically with your Saturn return being like when you are coming into spiritual maturity. So on this crazy planet, you are quote unquote an adult, or whatever form of an adult, at 18, right? So astrologically, you actually don't hit a type of spiritual maturity until 29, 30, 31 for certain people. When the Saturn return comes, it's like your spiritual birthday is when Saturn returns. And also, I'm a person that is a Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, and I've also got really, really heavy Aquarius placements, which also sometimes is said to be ruled by Saturn. Sometimes Uranus, but Saturn is definitely an esoteric ruler of Aquarius as well. And so when I found this guy, and I forgot how I even found him, but I wrote the notes down though, so I'll tell you guys about the notes. But he ended up dying on my Saturn return. I kid you not. My Saturn return was February 3rd, 2022. And he died on February 3rd, 2022. I kid you not. When I saw that, I literally almost fell out of the chair. And that was enough for me that day. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. So anyway, so my first reason for doing this absinthe ritual was to bring more clarity to why I was hypnotized and what way I was hypnotized, and then to start getting some type of like physical proof of this QHHT session. So I talk about my first QHHT. Well, it was my first one, but the first one I talked about, which was Operation Sophia. And then it took me a while, and then I actually had like a physical experience with someone where it gave me like the confirmation that that was actually like a real thing. And so that's what I was looking for in this situation, was like, okay, bring me some information that what I saw in this visualization is actually directly connected. Not just the connections with the death date, which is super significant, not just his name and how that's connected to something in my childhood, but I need some proof, which I have not gotten that yet. But that was my original reason for doing the first absinthe and truth serum. So as I was like writing down what to put in this mixture, right? Because, you know, we're talking about like ceremonial stuff. I mean, a lot of it is really just like ingredients. So food can be a ritual. Tea can be a ritual. You know, customizing your tea can be a ritual if you set a mental intention for it to do something. So that's like at a very basic form of like quote unquote witchcraft. Now there's some people that do a whole lot more stuff, and you know, it can get very theatrical, and you know, it can get very dark as well. I don't like to dabble into dark stuff or whatever. I just like to set intentions and mix flowers and stuff like that together, okay? And my dreams. So anyway, so as I was mixing together what they were telling me to do in my head, I started getting this visualization of this video that I had briefly saw, and I'm going to link that too. And it was a guy, and I absolutely love his channel. It's wild. It's not for kids. It's very wild, but a lot of what he said, I have actually seen in dreams, not knowing what in the world it was talking about. And then when I started to find his channel, he started putting pieces together, and it actually blew me away. So I'm going to link this video once I find it, because I'm going to have to find it. I can't remember exactly which one it was. But it's this guy, and his name is Denny, which is Dennis, like Paris. It's Denny. And his channel is strictly educational magic. And there was a video that I can't remember where he was talking about Parnassus, the incredible Parnassus or something. Now, I have tried to sit down and watch that movie, and usually it's like the movies and things that like you can't really focus on that are usually really significant. So at some point I'm going to try to sit down and watch it again. But that's what flashed in my head as I was putting together this absinthe, was the Parnassus movie. Oh, look at it. It's 12/21. Very interesting. Winter solstice. Very interesting. This Parnassus movie came up in my head, and they were like, you need to watch Parnassus. And I was like, okay. And then they told me something very strange that I still haven't figured out, but, you know, eventually I will do an update when I get more information about this stuff. And they said that Parnassus, which is the mountain of the muses, and I specifically connect to Cleo, which I believe is connected to Dione, or, Dione, which is the muse of history. Shout out to you if you saw Legacies and you saw Cleo on there. The Fatas, the fates, right? And I believe that it's fates that weave together dreams. Hold on, because I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, yeah, so, which Parnassus is the mountain of the muses. And they let me know that the movie that I was watching had to do with the conversion of turning a woman into a man. And I still don't know what that means. But it was like, if we all started as androgynous beings, and we started off as feminine, more feminine bodies, Parnassus has to do with the conversion of going from androgynous to a female to a man and producing men. I still haven't figured out what it means, but that's what I was talking about. Now, how I knew that, even though it was very random and I didn't know why they wanted me to watch this and like what they were telling me was true, is that there's a scene in the Parnassus movie where they show Tragmanagmo, okay, which is the wrathful black mother. And I will link that too. And I had a dream previous to that where I saw myself and I was looking in a mirror and my reflection was the wrathful mother. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm in for a ride. And so I paused it on that part because it was just like blowing my mind because I did not expect, because you were talking about a crossover from Greek mythology. But then if you actually pay attention to it in the beginning, there is a lot of Hindu, Buddhist, stuff as well. I think even like the main part, I'm gonna have to go back and really watch this movie and like take notes. But anyways, so anyways, I paused it and I got this urge to go back to like the mixture that I made and like to drink some of the absinthe. Child, I drank some of that absinthe. I'm gonna skip over some of the stuff. But anyways, I drank this absinthe, child, and I drank the absinthe and I remember being really giddy and really happy and, you know, having me a good time. And then all I remember after that was like the next morning, okay? So the next morning, I'm going to use some discretion. The next morning, I was not under my covers. I did not have any clothes on. And my body was almost halfway, I kid you not. My body was almost halfway off of the bed and my legs were out straight and I was in like a snow angel position. And I did not know how I got that way at all. I am always under the covers. I never sleep off the bed. I don't sleep wild. I'm pretty much in the same position throughout the night. And even if I do, I'm pretty aware of like myself moving around. So I don't wake up and like, well, I won't say never, like very, very few and far between, like maybe once or twice a year do I ever wake up and I'm like disoriented where I don't know where I am or something like that. Like I'm pretty aware. And so this freaked me out because of course, right, like in a normal thing, if your legs are literally out straight, hanging off the bed, then what happens? Like your legs get tired, your knees are locked because they've been in a certain position. My knees were perfectly fine. And I understood, and this was so strange because this was like the first thought that I had in my head, and I still don't know where it's come from yet. The first thought, ooh, look at it, it's 12/26. It's my birthday numbers. Oh my gosh, this is freaky. Okay. Wait, because like when you get that type of confirmation, okay. So anyways, in my head when I woke up and I was like orienting myself and I'm like, why are my legs? Because they weren't necessarily stiff like where I couldn't move them, but it definitely took my knees like a second for me to like move them. So I assumed that I was in that position for a while. Now my husband wasn't in the room with me. Nobody was in the room with me. So nobody saw me like the rest of the night. And so I was like, that's like very convenient because now I really don't know what in the world happened. So anyways, I knew that like I was in this angelic, like, you know, snow angels, like when you go and but I was like on my stomach. So I wasn't like, you know, I was like laying on the bed on my stomach with a snow angel. So not facing up, facing down. And I knew that there was a being that had placed me like this as a message of that you're touchable. That's the feeling that I got was like you're touchable. Like, you're touchable. and whoever it was, and it felt like it was a male energy. It didn't feel like it was a female energy. It felt like it was a male energy, and he specifically was like sending me a message that like, you're touchable. And some people might be freaked out by that. And the reason I'm not freaked out by that, or like I don't feel like, oh my gosh, somebody's trying to do something to me, blah, 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 is because like throughout my life, and I kid you not, this is legitimately something that has happened throughout life. Even though my memory of like childhood, which might have to do with hypnosis or whatever, is very shoddy, there's certain things that I remember with so much clarity that I'm like, there's no way you could take this memory though. Because this is something that is so such a soul memory that you can't take. Do you know what I'm saying? Like certain things you could take from someone, but certain things you can't take because it just belongs to them. So anyways, there used to always be this theme, not as much now, not as much, because obviously I did have this experience, not as much now, but also with this being Chef. This also, I saw this in a dream with Chef as well, which I thought was interesting because I stopped seeing Chef in my dreams, and I just assumed that it was because like, you know, we like had parted ways or something, and I'm gonna explain that in a second. So I didn't know that he didn't have access to my dreams anymore. That's not what I thought. I was just like, oh, okay, you know, he's a celebrity, he's got a lot of people around him or whatever. And, you know, he's probably just, has a lot of people to talk to. This wasn't like anything sexual or nothing like that. But throughout life, oh, look at all these dandelions. Ooh, wishes. Which is probably super significant. Okay, so anyways, throughout life, I've always had this kind of theme in my dreams, where I'm like a fairy and there's always people trying to capture me. And they're always trying to capture me to grant wishes or help them with something. Maybe also muse, like to give them some type of inspiration with something. And it's always like where it's always like, where they always take it too far. Like I can't leave the house. Sometimes I've seen it where I can't even leave the doggone room. Like, and it's like they don't want nobody to talk to me. They don't want anybody to know anything. Like in the dream with Chef, there was this dream where it started off where we like didn't like each other. And then I guess I didn't see the dream where we kind of worked things out and we became friends. And then it was like I was helping him with his career. But then there's like this one day that I saw in a dream where I was like in the back of the stretch limo and he was getting out to go to like a show, and he had like, you know, I had like an apartment, I had a car, I had the driver who take me anywhere I wanted to go, I had an unlimited shopping budget, you know, I was like taken care of. And like I said, this is not a sexual thing. I was like his spiritual advisor. But I was always like, oh, look, another dandelion. Ooh. But I was like in the back of the stretch limo, like where people wouldn't see me. And I remember that there was like, he was getting out and it was like, he like closed this like door to the back compartment wherever I was. And there was someone who was like flashing lights, like, you know, paparazzi and stuff, or, you know, just people outside of events when celebrities are getting out of cars and they want to, you know, like, capture, pictures and stuff like that. So they're getting out. And there's one woman who saw, as they were opening the door for him to get out and he was still closing it, there's one woman who saw me like very quickly. And she was like, who's that woman in the back? Is that your girlfriend? And he was like, don't worry about her. And he wasn't saying it like in a rude way or anything like that, but he said it so aggressively to her that I was like, wait, am I a prisoner? Like, am I a prisoner? And then as I was going to my apartment, because then I started thinking about my life, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, all I do is go shopping and like eat takeout, and I'm always at this apartment, and I'm always doing this and blah, 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 and I'm always taken care of. But I can't even help anyone else. And that's when I started realizing, like, that I was only allowed to help him. Like, I wasn't able to, like, give information to anyone else. And it's not like he, like, specifically was like, you can't help anybody else. But it was, like, this kind of energy, like how he said it to the reporter or, you know, paparazzi, whoever she was. I was like, oh my gosh, have I been a prisoner this whole time? Oh my goodness, have I been a prisoner this whole time? You know, and there, you know, it's nice to be taken care of. But then, you know, if you know, like, you know, the dynamics of being like a stay-at-home parent, right? Not just stay-at-home mom, but stay-at-home parent in general. You have one parent that's working, one parent that's like a stay-at-home. And this was before I was a stay-at-home mom that I had this dream. You know, you can be taken care of, but it, you know, where your house is taken care of, your car is taken care of, food is provided for, and things like that. But it still does not take care of you personally. Like, you still need your own income to take care of you personally. And then as you take care of you personally, then you, of course, start to branch out and then help with taking care of the home and things like that. So there is a crippled, I would say, to being a taken care of person, right? And that's like the age-old story about people, you know, who married rich or whatever, and they've been taken care of their whole life, and then that person dies or that person divorces them, and then they have nothing that they own or anything because they've been provided for the whole time. So anyways, that's like the reason that I'm not like, oh my gosh, someone's trying to get me or whatever, because there's all like, not all the time, not as much now, but definitely growing up, there was always this theme of like power plays by powerful people. And I'm like, okay, here we go again. So anyways, that was very long-winded. Shout out to you if you listen to this whole thing. If there are things that, you know, really connect for you as well, please don't hesitate to put it down in the description box, but not the description box, the comment section. The comment section, okay? Like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. If you or a friend or someone you know has had similar experiences, I would love to talk about it. You know, you can also email me. I'll have my email in the description box below. Also, dream interpretations, tarot services. If you are in Arizona, I am open to QHHT sessions as of like when I'm saying it right now. I'm definitely still new to the process, but I'm hoping to manifest like a person or a group of people that I can long-term do sessions on to really get my feet in the door and really like get the technique down before I really start like charging people for them and stuff like that, because it's a skill set of not only figuring out how to get people into the subconscious and into auric memory, which I feel like is unconscious memory, but then how to actually navigate and interpret what's being said, because some of it is straightforward and some of it is not. You know, the realm of the mind is very chaotic. So anyways, that's what I wanted to say to you guys today. I'm sending you guys lots of hugs and everything. I will be doing the timestamps and everything like that. I'm slowly getting to it. So make sure that you just like save it. If you hear something, just make sure that you like save it in like a folder and then come back to it, because I will be doing the timestamps and all that fun stuff and going back and doing the links and stuff like that. So yeah, friends, sending you lots of hugs and everything like that. And it is 12:36, not 12:37. So if you are saying those numbers, this is going to be super relevant to you as well. Okay, bye.